Welcome to the interview presented by Hardin Wrestling Forums. I'm Jackson Bast here with 5'6" heavyweight state champ Dylan Daring. How are you doing today, Dylan?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing pretty well. Let me start off by asking you, what got you into wrestling?
Wrestling coach was a football coach, and I've been playing football since I was 5 years old. So I played basketball from 8th grade to my sophomore year and didn't want to play basketball anymore. So the wrestling coach convinced me to go into wrestling.
So you played basketball.
Mm-hmm.
Were you any good?
Good enough to make the team.
Well, you're a pretty large individual. They put you at center?
Yeah. Not great at basketball. Is that what you wanted to hear?
You gotta be big and in the way if you're playing center, man. Or is that forward? I don't watch basketball. I don't know if you get
I was decent enough, I guess.
So obviously your assistant coach last year who went over to Homewood, that's Coach
McEwen.
He kind of went in between the two. So when you say he's a really big help to you. How did he help wrestling immediately skyrocket?
Well, he was my first wrestling coach, taught me how to wrestle. And we did so under that coach, we spent a lot of time working technique. A lot of the conditioning was wrestling-based conditioning. So it was live wrestling for 30, 40, 50 minutes for conditioning. So it was just a lot of wrestling, a lot of volume, a lot of drilling stuff, a lot of learning new stuff. And, you know, as opposed to this year, we didn't have a lot of time to do all that stuff. COVID was kind of getting in the way of a lot of stuff we were supposed to be doing. So with him, it was just helpful to do as much drilling as he did. And all the stuff that I kind of learned under him.
So I don't know if anybody's ever met Dylan. You know that Dylan is a great man of confidence. He knows he's going out there. He knows he's gonna whoop some tail. Dylan, what kind of gave you the confidence your first year of wrestling? You placed third in the state.
I didn't know I was going to be that good. So my football teammate, who was the heavyweight wrestler the year before me, he's now going to play defensive tackle at Division I school. And he had like a 500 record, a little over 500. And I was like, I'm bigger than him. I could probably move him around a little bit. I bet I could do a little bit better. I didn't know that meant I was going to be third in the state. I just kind of went out there and started competing and kind of had my competitive nature drive me to win matches. With my first year, I didn't really have very much technical skill. So it was just going out there, being strong and being competitive.
So after you fell in the semifinals to Michael Dawson of Opelika, what kind of gave you the kick in your back like, hey, you can't like go out and you can't lose the next three. You had to keep going. You can't just give up.
So I was really mad after that match, and I was talking to one of my coaches that year, and I just wanted to go home, man. I thought, especially like after sectionals and after the feud, I ended up going out there, and I think the next two matches were double overtime and just won by a point. No takedowns in my next two matches. It was bad wrestling.
So obviously COVID really affected you this year as a team, especially you guys don't have a lot of kids. You didn't have all the drilling partners that you wanted. I know you're training a lot with Minshew and Micah Burrow. You didn't have a lot of like kids who were your size. How were you able to still prepare for the state tournament with the lack of resources?
I think it was better to wrestle with those smaller guys because I had to shoot more. I mean, if I'm wrestling a heavyweight like my junior year, we had a decent backup heavyweight for me to wrestle. And having those small guys, I mean, getting out there and throwing a 160 in practice is not doing me any good. So I mean, he shoots nothing but low singles. So I had to learn how to defend low singles, shoot low singles, that stuff. Wow. So that's it kind of got me more well-rounded.
So you were telling me previously before the broadcast that you did not actually get to practice at all the week of state.
No. We didn't get to do anything. It was snowed up. Jefferson County wouldn't let us do anything. And Shades Valley doesn't have like a wrestling club like Gardendale, Mountain Brook, and Vestavia, and all those schools do. So we were just out of luck. I was just running at the park down the road, running about 3 miles a day and doing stuff like that.
I'm trying to imagine you run 3 miles a day. I don't know, man.
It was tough, man.
Group of seniors like this year, you had Minshew, Burrow, among other guys. How did having those guys on the team with you kind of motivate you?
Well, it helps because it's everybody's last year. If we're gonna win state, we got to do it this year. It's not like there's no more messing around. We're all seniors. Minshew especially, I thought he'd be winning state for sure. Didn't know that kid from Pelham existed, but we all thought he was gonna do well at state. And Micah Burrow, I mean, he's good. He's kind of hot and cold sometimes, but he's really good. He wrestled Riley Coon at one point. That he gave up really late in the match and ended up losing, but that was a state champ right there. So we kind of had this idea that we were all going to either place really highly or win state, and so that drive, feeding off each other, was pretty good.
So obviously you lost in the semifinals last year, and you changed something. What did you change to become a state champ this year?
It was last year I kind of just did it for fun, my junior year. And then I kind of figured out that, hey, I'm kind of a little bit good at this. So I just took it a lot more serious, took conditioning, got a lot more skilled because, I've only been wrestling for 2 years. So, like, growth from year 1 to year 2 is going to be pretty big. So I am significantly better than I was when I placed third in my junior year right now. So that was kind of just taking it more seriously and conditioning harder, practicing harder.
So I don't know how many of our viewers know this, but Dylan has just signed to play football at Hardin University. So Dylan, why'd you pick Hardin?
Camaraderie. I really love the offense they play. They have a good engineering school, and I went up there and I was really impressed with a lot of stuff they have and a lot of opportunities they have in that field. Teammates, and I just like the feel up there. I didn't really want to be in a big city like Birmingham, so I like that the town has like 20,000 people. I mean, it was a pretty good fit for me.
That's still a pretty solid-sized town. I'm from Bluefield, I'm from Birmingham. I wrestled at Bluefield, and we got like maybe 10,000. It's a tiny place. It's a tiny place.
Yeah, I like those small towns. I'm not a city person.
You know what? I didn't think I was either, because you think Alabaster, Hoover. To me, those are like tiny cities, but then those are pretty big compared to some.
Yeah, they are.
But anyway, so let me ask you this: if Harding was going to get a wrestling team, would you go wrestle for Harding?
100%. I would love to. They don't have one. Maybe they'll get one. I don't know. Currently, they don't. But yeah, D2 wrestling.
Big shout out to Harding, so they can get a wrestling team, so that Dylan can wrestle over there, so I can whoop him. So I'm just picking on Dylan, but so obviously the question everybody's been waiting for is Dawson Ray says he can whoop your behind. Is this true?
Dawson Ray says he can whoop my behind, and then we got in the wrestling room at Thompson, and he was not whooping my behind.
Wow.
Not at Thompson, at Warrior.
Well, I was actually talking to him. I interviewed him, and I asked him the same question, and he said he was whooping on you.
Yeah, I'm sure he said that.
Well, I'm not sure. I don't know who's right. Maybe I'll have to text some of my buddies over there, figure out who's really whooping on who. But you guys are just, exhausted on each other, like.
Yeah, something like that. Breathing too hard.
I don't know, man. You might not be able to. I can't run 3 miles straight, so maybe you had better conditioning than I did. Well, I've got a segment on my show called The Weigh-In where I have people weigh in on the hot button topics that are going on in Alabama wrestling. So the first one I'm going to ask you is, do you think that wrestling in Alabama should be one division or multiple divisions? And if multiple divisions, how should we split up?
My first reaction is one division. I saw somebody say something about having like multiple for the teams, like the dual state championships, and one for the individual state championship. And I like that idea because the individual state championship should be individuals, not individuals in a certain size of school. So I think it should have been 1 through 7A for the individual state championship, and broken down, maybe 1 through 4, 5, 6, and 7 for the team state.
I think that was Coach Bo Bailey from Auburn. He's on the show.
Yeah, I like that idea.
A little bit back, which I'm glad to hear that Dylan Daring is watching my YouTube. I feel so cool right now. Do you think that kids should be able to wrestle with their club in season?
I think that would help. I think, I had like the high school practices all season, and then right after the season, I started going to Warrior a little bit, and those practices are much tougher. Having kids like Dawson I can wrestle with would have helped me during the season. It would definitely grow wrestling in Alabama, I feel, and it would make Alabama wrestlers a lot more competitive in the national scene. And, I mean, we got a few guys, but not very many.
Definitely. And I know other people are also trying to figure out who the best state champ is for heavyweight in the state. What would you think would happen if you wrestled Carson Hall?
Tech fall.
Tech fall. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Maybe I set this up. You
Set it up, man. Find a wrestling room.
Wow.
Find a wrestling room. I'm 300 pounds right now. I'll do it.
You're a big boy. I can tell. You were cutting weight to make heavyweight. You missed weight at Gardendale that one time.
Yeah, at the Gardendale tournament, I missed weight.
It was your first tournament of the year ever? Like your first tournament ever? Well, Dylan, before I let you go, is there anything you want to say to my viewers?
Work hard.
Have
fun.
Short and sweet. Well, Dylan, thank you so much for being on the show. I know everybody else loves it as much as I do. And thank you guys all for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and stay cool, Alabama Wrestling.